Pokemon designs didn't appear out of nowhere. They're a result of cultural storytelling, artistic influence, and mythology that goes way deeper than most people realize. And that's what I love about exploring this side of the franchise. It's like uncovering a visual history of folklore and design philosophy, but with Pokemon. I have a handful of Pokemon that I'll be showing today, and as I talk through each of them, I'll start with the Pokédex number and Pokédex entry, and let's see if you can guess who they are before I talk more about them. It's like an informative game of who's that Pokemon. So today we're starting at the very beginning with Generation 1. The original 151 Pokemon aren't just iconic, but they laid the foundation for everything that followed. If this is your first time seeing me, hi, my name is Aaron. Introduce yourself in the comments by telling me your favorite Pokemon, and I might talk about them in the future. And make sure to press the like button and subscribe if you want to see more thoughtful Pokemon and gaming content. National Pokédex number 125. When a storm arrives, gangs of this Pokemon compete with each other to scale heights that are likely to be stricken by lightning bolts. Some towns use this Pokemon in place of lightning rods. An electric type classified as the electric Pokemon, it's Electabuzz. Electabuzz is often dismissed as just a cool guy, but they're more than that. Design-wise, they're layered with cultural references that point towards something deeply rooted in Japanese folklore, the Oni, which is a horned ogre or demon known for wearing tiger pelts and wielding supernatural powers. If you look at their striped body and horned head, the tiger-Oni connection seems pretty obvious. Oni are powerful, chaotic forces, sometimes villains, sometimes guardians, and they're often associated with thunder and lightning, and that sounds a lot like Electabuzz to me. To make it even more interesting, its antennae resemble Tesla coils, grounding its design in both traditional and modern imagery. The Oni have influenced other areas of gaming, like the Moblins and Bokoblins from The Legend of Zelda, remaining a symbol of power, chaos, and folklore. So Electabuzz isn't just a cool guy, but a modern take on an ancient myth, as many of the Pokemon we'll talk about today are. If you eat a grass-type Pokemon, is that considered meat or vegetables? Let's not answer that, but let's talk about our next Pokemon. National Pokédex number 43. When it is woken by moonlight, it wanders about. But during the day, it still stays underground. A grass poison type classified as the weed Pokemon, it's Oddish. If you started your Pokemon journey with red, blue, yellow, or even green, Oddish was probably your first grass-type Pokemon outside of Bulbasaur, and it's one of the earliest examples of Pokemon blending natural science with myth. Oddish's Japanese name translates to mysterious grass, and that mystery ties into its likely inspiration, the mandrake, which is a real-world plant with roots that look eerily human-shaped. According to European folklore, if you yank a mandrake out of the ground, it emits a blood-curdling scream that harms anyone who hears it. Pokemon Yellow even references this in its Pokédex entry. If you try to yank it out of the ground, it shrieks horribly. This grass-type Pokemon isn't just a weed, but a mythological Pokemon dressed in blue and green. And because I like Oddish so much, let's dive a little deeper into its evolution. Oddish evolves into Gloom, and then Gloom evolves into either Vileplume or Blossom. This was one of the first Pokemon lines to introduce divergent evolution. Vileplume references the Rafflesia, a parasitic flower with an overwhelming odor, while Blossom, with its tropical skirt and cheerful dancing, represents renewal and joy. It's a great example of how Pokemon designs can pull from global myths and biology at the same time. While Oddish thrives underground, our next Pokemon takes to the skies, and its evolution line confuses just about everyone. National Pokédex number 149. It's said to make its home somewhere in the sea. It guides wrecked ships to shore. A dragon-type Pokemon also classified as the dragon Pokemon, it's Dragonite. Across Chinese culture, there's an ancient artifact known as the pig dragon, or Zhulong. Why are we talking about Chinese culture if Pokemon is Japanese? Well, friend, if you know anything about Japanese mythology, it's that a lot of it is derived and inspired by China. Anyway, these pig dragons were jade carvings shaped like serpentine dragons with pig-like features, chubby faces, curling bodies, and a symbolism of transformation and evolution. In early Chinese mythology, the pig dragon represented the incomplete dragon, or an evolving being. And this transformation is what confuses everyone about this Pokemon, going from a serpent-like dragon to one that appears to be more European influenced. So how do we go from Dragonair to Dragonite? If we look at Dragonite from the lens of a pig dragon, it starts to make sense. Dragonite is a reinterpretation of the pig dragon being round and cute, but also powerful. Dragonite is a complete version of Dragonair, finally becoming the pig dragon it was always meant to be. Even Dragonair's name supports this theory if we look at it as a pun, being dragon and heir, the inheritor of this dragon legacy. So rather than being a weird design jump, Dragonite is actually a full circle evolution, a reinterpretation of ancient symbols through modern design. And now, with its mega evolution being discovered in Kalos, its connection to the pig dragon becomes even stronger. Its design gains more wings and jade-like features, and it's almost as if Dragonite has come full circle, embracing its mythological roots and becoming the very kind of dragon that may have inspired it in the first place. Now that we understand one dragon, let's look at another, one not born from the sea, but in a lake. National Pokédex number 130. Once it appears, it goes on a rampage. It remains enraged until it demolishes everything around it. A water flying type classified as the atrocious Pokemon, it's Gyarados. The evolution from Magikarp to Gyarados is inspired by the legend of the golden koi. According to Chinese mythology, koi fish that could swim upstream and leap over the legendary Dragon Gate would transform into a dragon. There's a scene in Pokémon Snap that actually directly references this, where Magikarp leaps into a waterfall and then evolves into a Gyarados. And while Gyarados isn't exactly a dragon type, its water flying typing makes sense when you realize that Chinese dragons are often water deities. They control rain, storms, and even rivers, maybe even lakes, just like the red Gyarados from Gold and Silver. So Gyarados and Dragonite are actually kind of connected, both drawing from the evolution of a dragon from sacred fish to divine beast. So Magikarp isn't useless, it's symbolic, and if you don't get that, you're probably just uncultured. Let's see if you can guess these two Pokemon who aren't necessarily related, but you'll understand why I paired them together. National Pokédex number 81. The electromagnetic waves emitted by the units at the sides of its head expel anti-gravity, which allows it to float. An electric type classified as the magnet Pokemon, it's Magnemite. National Pokédex number 100. It rolls to move. If the ground is uneven, a sudden jolt from hitting a bump can cause it to explode. An electric type, classified as the ball Pokemon, it's Voltorb. The Pokemon people love to call uninspired because what could be lazier than a floating magnet or a Pokeball with eyes, right? Wrong. In Japanese folklore, there's a concept known as tsukumogami, which is a belief that when an object exists long enough, it gains a spirit or a soul. Everyday items like keys, trash, or a teapot can become sentient beings once they reach 100 years old. This concept of tsukumogami is likely what Voltorb and Magnemite draw from. The idea that even machines and man-made items can hold energy, personality, and spirit. And Rotom, while not a Generation 1 Pokemon, but still relevant here, takes this concept to the next level. Its entire gimmick is possession, animating everyday objects like fans, fridges, and lawnmowers, and it's the perfect example of this myth. So these designs aren't lazy, they're culturally clever. They take something ordinary and make it extraordinary, exactly what Pokemon does best. And speaking of Pokemon that make ordinary extraordinary, let's talk about one that literally brings dinner to the table. National Pokédex number 83. The stalk this Pokemon carries in its wings serves as a sword to cut down opponents. In a dire situation, the stalk can also serve as food. Usually a normal flying type Pokemon depending on where you live, classified as the wild duck Pokemon, it's Farfetch'd. Farfetch'd is one of those Pokemon that might seem simple, but in Japan, it's a pun rooted in an old proverb. The saying, Kamo ga negi wo shote kuru, roughly translates to a duck comes bearing green onions. This basically means a stroke of unexpected good fortune, like something wonderful falling into your lap. Farfetch'd literally embodies this phrase because it's a duck that brings its own ingredients ready to be cooked. It's both a joke and a clever cultural reference rolled into one design. Even in Galar, Farfetch'd builds upon this, turning the humble proverb into something noble and heroic, the joke becoming a legend over time. That's the end of this curated list, so here's what we've learned. Electabuzz isn't just a cool guy, but a Japanese Oni. Oddish isn't a weed, but a mandrake. Gyarados' evolution is based on the legend of the golden koi, while Dragonite's is based on the Chinese pig dragon. There's more to the object Pokemon, and Farfetch'd is a big pun. From Oni to Onions, Generation 1's designs show how Pokemon has always been about more than just cool creatures. It's a blend of art, myth, and culture. When you recognize where these ideas come from, these lazy designs suddenly turn into cultural storytelling. Pokemon isn't random, it's a museum of global folklore wrapped into a video game. So next time someone says that Pokemon design doesn't make sense, you can inform them and make them cultured. So thanks for watching. If you're here to the end, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and share this with someone who might learn something. In the comments below, comment which Pokemon you'd like me to talk about in the future so we can learn something together, because every Pokemon has its roots. If you enjoyed this video, check out my deep dive on my favorite Pokemon, Esper. Bye!